I get the idea of kids wanting to dress up when they're young. I get the idea who doesn't like candy.
Yeah.
So my response is alternatives. Do something else.
This is Ask Dr. E, where Dr. Michael Easley answers your biblical or theological questions in 10 minutes or less. Today's question is, should Christian families celebrate Halloween?
I was looking for the chapter and verse to answer this.
It's not in the Bible? It doesn't say?
I don't think so. There's been so much written on, All Saints Day, All Souls Day, hallowed. And I don't want to go down those rabbit trails. There's pamphlets galore out there people can look at. What I would say is every family, whether it's Halloween, Christmas, other holidays, has to sit down. Husbands and wife need to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Your mom nor I were ever big fans of Halloween.
Yeah.
And I got in trouble more than once for saying in the pulpit that I hated Halloween by well-intentioned people, and I said I still hate Halloween because I think it purports two things: the costumes and the candy. With the sugar overdose, parents get to navigate through that aftermath. But I get the idea of kids wanting to dress up when they're young. I get the idea who doesn't like candy.
Yeah.
So my response is alternatives. Do something else. When we were in Northern Virginia, we had a Reformation Day, and we had a big gym, and we had the little basketball things and little Dunkin' booths and the little duck ball things, and we had candy, and I think they brought in a little hayride thing around the soccer field, and it was a big old time. And kids dressed up and came, and it was in a safe environment. And of course, in some neighborhoods, you don't want to go trick or treating.
Right.
You need to be careful with all that stuff. And there was the school did a little emphasis on the Reformation. It wasn't like a big thing, but it was well done. Well, another year we were asking Jessie about this. She didn't remember, but we actually rented like one of these indoor play things. They have like the gyms and stuff and the big slides and the rings, and we rented the whole thing. And then we took families there for the night. It was just go play, and have a big time. And we had refreshments, and I think we had like a ice cream deal, whatever. So there's alternatives you can do. Yeah. Now, you're a mom with young kids, and you're in a neighborhood where everybody decorates, and it's a big event.
Yes.
So,
well, I mean, what's funny is I think those of us who were raised in Christian homes oftentimes perhaps react to what happened or did not happen in our own homes, So I kind of remember growing up thinking like, I'm going to do Halloween for my kids because, we didn't really do Halloween. We would kind of do churchy Halloween stuff. And I don't think I was ever allowed to trick or treat until like high school age then it's like, should you really be trick or treating? Yeah, for sure not in Texas. I was not allowed to trick or treat. And I just remember feeling so, the neighborhood kids were. And anyway, I felt left out from that. So I was always like, I'm not going to do that to my kids.
I thought when we were in Texas, we dressed you up and took you to...
We did, but we would go to a church thing. It would be a church, trunk. It wasn't trunk or treat, but that sort of idea. So, anyway, but now what's interesting, I think, is folks my age, there's always going to be a spectrum, but I hear a lot of stuff on social media about, Christians saying like, we really shouldn't be celebrating this holiday. This is, evil in the sight of the Lord. When we think about what Halloween is supposed to be. And some of the decorations are really gross.
That's what set your mom off.
Yeah. And Tyler, my husband too, as you know, abhors Halloween.
Godly man.
So anyway, I get that. And, but the kids, they want to dress up and they want to go door to door. The local church that I attend, our lead pastor a few years ago brought it up and he said, listen, I'm not going to tell you what to do, except this is the one night of the year that your neighbors are coming to your front door and knocking on it. And so instead of being Halloween haters or instead of, and I think maybe he was trying to explain why the church didn't do something, but he was like, why don't you set up lawn chairs and have a table and like actually talk to your neighbors and use it as an opportunity just to be a neighbor and to be a friend. And I thought, that's really good. We actually, a couple doors down from us, there's a couple that does that. Their girls are late high school and early college age, and they do a bonfire in there. He brings out a big solo stove on the driveway and sets up a ton of camp chairs, so not just for them. And they've got like a table of candy, of course, but then like water bottles. And there's a few folks, I know that those folks are believers. There's other people in the neighborhood that do something similar. But it's like, let's create an environment where we're just actually being neighborly and friendly and creating relationships. But I also, we have neighbors who they don't let their kids trick or treat. They dress up and they help hand out candy, but they've decided, their family does not do Halloween. And so it's interesting.
Yeah, and interesting to hear you talk about, we didn't let you do it, and as an adult, your memory of that. And I remember as a kid growing up, it was a non-issue, but our neighborhood was, we didn't lock our doors. People left their keys in their car. We all knew each other.
Right.
A mom four doors down.
That is my neighborhood
well,
also.
pretty much. 4 doors down could spank you.
Well, yeah, we don't do that. We don't spank each other's children.
Oh, and it was like, there's a famous Dennis Rainey story that we identified with was, he got in trouble at some new neighbor's house and she whipped him for it and took him back home to his mother, and she whipped him because she embarrassed him and her in front of her new neighbor. It's like, hey, so it was a different time. And, but there is a safety issue that, I think you have to be smart. With fentanyl today, it used to be razor blades and apples. That was the big fear. I never saw that happen, but that was a big fear.
I think that was a whole fear-monger thing that didn't really...
But the fentanyl is a real problem, and candy's a real problem, and also...
Well, that's the other thing. I just hate the sugar in the house. Our dentist, thank God, they give you money for a Ziploc bag per each kid. I think it's like $4. And so, every year I'm pushing my kids, let's go see Dr. Tiffany, and she'll buy back your candy.
Oh, she buys the candy back.
She gives them $4 for a Ziploc bag full. I'm like, you can buy 4 things from the Dollar Tree. Actually, that's not true because they're now $1.25. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, again, I hate to be a wet rag on things, a wet towel, but it's a teaching opportunity too. Maybe we didn't teach it well enough, and we thought the options were good.
Probably did.
The options were good, but every parent's going to make decisions. Jessie the other day was reminding me of some egregious thing I did. We were joking about it when she was a kid. I don't remember it, but she swears it happened. And so, you talked in another interview about, dropping information, and you think you're parenting really well doing this thing, and you don't remember one part of it, but the one thing you said off the cuff, you remember the rest of your life. It scars you deeply because your father said something horrible.
We all have to go to therapy for something. So.
No, you don't. You can grow up, though. But at the end of the day, my point is, you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's probably more, can you have the dialogue now as an adult with your children to say why we didn't do it, why you choose to do it. Your kids one day are going to have the same comments and conversations with you when they're 40. And they're going to say, Mom, why'd you let us do Halloween? Right. Or, Mom, we should have done more of it.
You're right, totally. Well, we'll be in trouble because we did let them trick or treat.
So, sugar will be the next cancer before we know it. So, sugar's going to go away. But all these things, I go back to teaching moments. Teach the best you can. We tried with the alternative things. I thought they were fabulous alternatives. And the other thing for me, when we were in Nova, they were safe. Because where we lived, I would not feel comfortable letting y'all just go down, especially little kids, and traffic in the street. Cars, even if your neighborhood's super safe, someone driving down there who's intoxicated, some teenager who's drunk on Halloween. So those are the things parents worry about at the high level. It's not just, is it Horrorween and is it of Satan? And those egregious things, obviously you want to avoid them, but there's got to be some liberty in life, and there's got to be some fun. But just be smart. Yep.
All right. Well, if you've got a question for Dr. E, call us, text us, email us. The info is in your show notes.